Imagine you're in a quiet room and about to watch a video. If you want to turn the volume down, you're going to have to first click on the volume panel and then expand it to turn down the media volume. This can get pretty annoying at times, and if you want to know some ways to turn down the media volume by default, then keep watching. Here we're going to be taking a look at a slew of different apps here, not all of which do the exact same things, but they all offer ways to control the media volume by default, and none of these apps require root to work. Multiple apps on this list use accessibility services to work. It works by simply detecting when key events are sent by the system, specifically key code volume down and key code volume up. The first one being Buttons Remapper. This is pretty nice to use for this function, and although the UI isn't very exciting, it gets the job done. So you simply enable this by hitting the plus button, select the correct button, and select Music Volume Plus for the action. And as you can see, this app can be used for more than just remapping the volume keys. There's a bunch of other different actions you can set for the different keys on the phone. You can set actions for short presses as well as long presses, and there's also a premium option for doing combination presses if you want to check that out. The next app we're going to be taking a look at is Button Mapper, which also uses accessibility services, and while the app itself is free, you're going to have to pay $3 for the ability to map the volume keys to control media by default. But it's simple to enable. You just hit the toggle towards the bottom to enable it, but of course this app has a ton of other features besides just remapping the volume buttons, but most of the cool ones require you paying that $3. This app also uses features like lock screen peek, which is being able to turn off the phone by pressing the home button when on the lock screen, but this will only work when the fingerprint scanner is off. You can swap the back and recent buttons, and you can also swap the volume orientation. In the advanced settings, you can toggle bypassing Button Mapper when the camera's in use or when you're making a phone call, and you can also edit the delay time for long presses and double taps, which is pretty cool. When it comes to using the button mapping itself, you can set actions for single taps, double taps, and long presses, as well as the vibration intensity for when you press that button. Pretty useful app for the $3 you pay, and if you're into customizing buttons on your phone, this is a pretty cool option. And we also have 4 promo codes to give away for this app. Next up we have the SoundHUD app that requires accessibility services. This app will essentially replace the stock volume panel with its own, and you can customize the way it looks as well. But to automatically control media volume, just go to the audio and media settings and lock the volume stream to music. But this app also has a few other useful features, such as actions for long pressing the volume up and volume down buttons, as well as toggling volume adjustment sounds. If you don't want SoundHUD running while using certain apps, there's also a way to do that in the advanced settings. The next app is called Media Volume Only, which will require accessibility services as well. And this does exactly what you're looking for here and nothing more. It simply locks the volume control to media by default. Super straightforward. The next app is called Rocker Locker, and this app doesn't use accessibility services, and that's because it's constantly playing this tone that you probably won't even hear, therefore locking the current volume stream to media at all times. And while that is fine, I suppose, it has been known to drain the battery a bit, so keep that in mind. And just like Media Volume Only, its only function is locking the volume control to media by default. The last app we're going to be taking a look at is called Precise Volume. This app was mainly designed to give you more precise control of your volume levels, but if you go into the settings, you can lock the volume buttons to media by default. And this works the same way that Rocker Locker does, which is by constantly playing in an audible tone. But other than that, there's more features like a volume booster, an advanced equalizer, and you can set presets for whatever type of audio device you have connected. It's a pretty useful app. There's also an app called Sound Assistant, which can do this as well, but it's only for Samsung phones running TouchWiz with Android 7.0 and higher. But that's basically it. I hope you found this video useful, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.